Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. You know, I have written on my board here just kind of some daily reminders. A lot of the reminders, these little nuggets, are just from these talks I get to have. I'll hear something, I'll be like, golly, I need to have that on my board so I can see it daily. And one of it is just the reminder of it's my job, but it's their game.
Yeah.
And I never want to take that away from them. I never wanted to the pressures that I might feel, or that hunger, that drive to achieve some of the things that you have or other guys, not to put that pressure. Because, you know, when I watch them shoot every day, we play a lot of shooting games that deal with increasing their speed and then putting pressure on them so that those reps are real. But that's enough. Like, that's enough stress that they need to have with this game. I've already done it to them. Don't put any more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We can do that. I can do that really easily. And you know, I don't know, I tried to get better at that as I went through my career. I mean, Bobby Knight, I thought I was going to be a Bobby Knight coach, and man, that very first year I found out it was not me. And you have to, everybody has their own skill set and have their own way of doing things. And we all don't have to coach exactly the same way. It's kind of what you get the kids to buy into and what they can learn from you. And it doesn't have to be the same, and you don't have to fake it and try to be something that you're not. And man, I regret a few of the words that I chose to use when I was a young coach, Matt, that I look back and say, how stupid, you know. And but what is, your brain doesn't fully develop till you're about what, age 30 or something?
Yeah, like 25 or something.
25,
So if you started before that,
mine was late even. So
well, let me ask you, how long do you feel like it until, you know, not like a groove or hit your stride, because you're a lifelong learner, and so probably the real answer is never. But at what point in your career did you feel like, okay, like I know who I am in this deal?
That's a good question. I always was striving to be the best I could be every single year. I mean, I probably, I don't know, probably got more confident there after I won some. And, but I do remember this, Matt, that I got about halfway through my career, and I thought, is there maybe something more that God wants me to give to these kids rather than just, you know, every day show up, do my job, working hard, and win some games. And so when I became a little more focused toward that than I did even on winning, my teams played even better. They played even better. And so I probably took some of the pressure off. And we started doing some things like, you know, in the public schools, you couldn't really, you know, had to be careful about things there. But we did devotionals that were led by the players the night before games, especially when we got to district and playoffs. So they led the devotionals. They were awesome. The kids did an awesome job. And we would pray. I have to admit, we would pray just for concerns and things, joys and concerns. And so and I tried to do a better job at loving my players. But I mean, I've been a believer, and I've been all the way through, but I felt like I had to do more.
Yeah.
Hey, it's this, what can I do that pleases God, that I don't know if it's going to be that big a deal how many games I actually win when, I'm done, So what are some other things that make a difference? And I tell you, there are a lot of coaches out there that are doing some terrific things, and they beat themselves up because they don't win all the time, because that's not on social media probably.
Yeah.
But there's some great people out there that I'm so glad are leading our kids, day in and day out. And because it's bigger than wins and losses. It's that culture you bring day in and day out is really what has the biggest impact on those players. And the old Billy Graham statement that a coach can impact more people in 1 year than most people do in a lifetime.
Yeah.
I started, oh man, that's put some pressure on me, some responsibility on me. And so I want to make sure I'm impacting in the right way. So that's been a little bit. I mean, I've studied the game. I've studied the game as much as anybody in the history of the game. And so I like that learning thing. I like that a lot. But I have the biggest room for growth, I think, is on my spiritual side, and my thing where I can do more for these players than what I'm doing right now. And so I gradually, hopefully, got better at that. I've never mastered it, but hopefully I got better. And I was more aware of that as we went along through there. And like I said, we won more after I did that, than I did even before that. And so, anyway,
Interesting. It's interesting though, because it's early on. I thought I can't waste a second of practice time, out with culture, or getting to know them, or taking those few minutes for little talks. And even though I might even notice something in a kid, he's just normally energetic, but he's drooping a little bit more. He just seems to be down. But do I have the time? And to your point, we need to be willing to sacrifice that precious practice time 100% of the time to get deeper with our players, get at their hearts a little bit more, find out who they are, the connection piece, let them know they love us, like you talked about. And I think it's pretty inspiring to hear that the biggest change in your career wasn't this offense or defense that you found, or a new drill, or new this. It was.
I spent a lot of time, Matt, trying to do that. I mean, I spent a lot of time trying to study that and beat myself up. And I mean, that was fun. I like that. But hey, golly, it's right there, staring me in the face. What else can I do to have an impact? And so all of our coaches out there listening, just, hey, you don't have to be a preacher, or you don't have to be go to Bible college. Just do what God wants you to do. Show your passion and why you're in coaching, and just enjoy what you have, because I get to coach for a living.
They're paying me to do this.
Those NBA players are playing for millions of dollars. They should be I get to do this for a living, and this is they ought to appreciate what they got.
Quick story here. I got to go play in my late 20s. I was coaching at McKinney High School as a varsity assistant, but I was still playing quite a bit, and got to go play in Mexico for 7 days. And with this team of Americans that was playing against the Mexican Olympic team. We were like that team, the Washington Generals that travels with the Globetrotters. They were just beating us up in all of these little towns, drumming up support for their Olympic team. But in one of the cities, these Americans that I was with, they were threatening to not play because they weren't paid their $50 before the game. And I remember sitting there in the locker room with them, and it was like that moment right there, like, guys, listen, we get we get to play, like we get paid to do this. And they looked at me. They were younger guys that were trying to get in the G League and all this stuff. I have gray hair already as a 30-year-old getting my $50, but I'm like, they were so mad at me, but it was the truth. I felt the same way. Like I going to practice, getting to play this game, man, this is the best thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some times I used to tell my players, God, can I suit up? Can I play? I mean, I'm just ready to play. And so, when God has blessed you with that passion for it, you're in the right profession. But we all can take our talents and get a little bit better at things we do. And we all can improve. And so that's what I wanted to always do. I was always trying to get better. And I'm still working on it. Still a lot of times a failure, but still working on it. So, yeah.
It's really cool though to hear how, because you were a player and then moved to coaching and how at some point, let me ask you this. At what point did you maybe stop looking at the game like you were a player and you really started to see it more from a different point of view?
Well, as soon as I started coaching, it changed.
Yeah.
It changed. But, we take our experiences that we had, as players. I had a coach in college that he ran a new offense every year. And back then it was the Dick Motta offense one week. And then it was Rudy Tomjanovich. And then it was, I don't know, all the great coaches back then. We had a new thing. And, maybe one or two guys might be able to understand all those little things. But the Kentucky offense, and oh man, I tell you, and here I was duplicating a little bit of that same thing. I just had to slap my wrist. What am I doing here? The kids get more enjoyment. You've hit on it about getting better, improving, and they do that through their skill development, and it's more than remembering an offense or play.
And when that skill development directly complements the way you're playing, to me, that's when you really start to that improvement accelerates. Yeah. I think a good question for you is your favorite style to play or to teach, but golly, over 42 years, I mean,
I've seen a lot.
I got to imagine. Yeah, you've seen so many ideas and fads come and go or stay. Some have stuck around, but was it every year or two? I mean, I think you kind of answered a little bit that. Were you reinventing or just constantly shifting to maybe the way that what this team needs? How did you do that from year to year?
Well, because I was active learning on stuff, I was trying some of that stuff out along the way. Now, mainly I did that in the springtime when I had the kids in the spring. There wasn't a ball game on the horizon till next year. So I did a lot of experimenting in the spring, but you don't really get better doing that. Maybe you get better defensively because you guard all that different stuff.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So maybe that was pretty good. But my career, Matt, the first 3/4 of my career was post-oriented. We were inside, outside. And I'm telling you, you can win that way today. I mean, it's not, I know but we used to have teams and our goal was to shoot 50% every year. If we didn't shoot 50%, we shot 48 or 47 and 10 turnovers or less. And so we played under control and we played inside out. Of course, you have to develop a post player but I always thought that was the best way to shoot a three was throw it inside and let them kick it back out. You step into it, shoot a three. I think to me, that's the easiest way to shoot it. So I still have a little bit of that background, but then I'd say the last, I guess when Calipari started talking about, well, I tried to run Bobby Knight in motion in the middle of all that stuff. No, really back early. And how'd
that go?
I talked to Bill Self about that. Was probably the hardest stuff to guard. What Bobby Knight used to run.
Yeah.
So you gave all these screens and you do all these reads off those screens, and that's hard to guard. And so if I had a bunch of old men playing, that's what we're doing. We're setting back screens, flare screens, and I'm going to pick you to death, and we're
That's
going to
right.
come back, roll back to the ball, and do all those things. Now, I would love to play like that. So I had the inside, outside. I played half court man. I did press when I felt like I could full court press, and I did press. But we had a lot of grind out games too, Matt, that were not easy. And one in particular, we lost to level lane. I think it was 22-20. And we were number 1 and 2 team in the state of Texas in the same district.
Wow.
Then we met in the regional finals for about 3 or 4 straight years, or 5 straight years. And that's when I was over coaching. I knew their stuff as well as they did, and I tried to get that to our players. And I thought it hurt our what we did, our offense and stuff. And so, but we played a lot of those type games where every possession was huge. Okay, there's of course no shot clock, and so you played to win, right? And so anyway, I was kind of brought up playing that way a little bit in high school, and then of course college was just all over the place. But in my early years of coaching, we were, and I mean, I still had the goal of 10 turnovers my whole career, but hopefully it was a little more free flowing and not so. Well, I felt like I took the pressure off the kids. They played better, right? I mean, I don't teach them so much of what the other team was trying to do. Okay, so if I could do it right now, if I had the players, so in girls, if I had 5 girls, no, excuse me, if I had 10 girls, they're all 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", we would full court man press. We would run the 2-side break. We would run some type of 4-out or 5-out motion with some dribble drive principles, and we would sub when we got tired. I'd bring in Betty Lou for Susie. She'd come. I think that could be a lot of fun. Now that's having 10 similar type players that are pretty high caliber type players. I played a little bit like that in my career, but I never felt like I don't have a backup for my point guard. I don't want her full court pressing the whole game, getting some fouls and getting tired. And so we didn't play like that a lot. But if I had the team, or if I had a boys team, everybody was 6'3", kind of lengthy, and I would switch everything. I would, like I said, we would get to the hole, but we'd shoot threes, and we'd get paint touches, and we would play kind of like that, if that makes sense. I don't know that's enough detail, but that's how I'd like to play. But to win, you have to be realistic on what your team can do and not do. And so, even though I may like that the best, most of the time I felt like I couldn't win like that. I just didn't feel like we had that type of team, and so we had to play a little bit differently. And so there was a year where I ran a lot of set plays, man, because I just felt like, man, we just can't score, and but we're smart, and I can set up some shots. And so, hey, that was kind of rewarding. Hey, we scored on that set play, and we scored on that set play. And I've heard of guys that had 100 set plays. Can you imagine going over that in practice? And what kind of fun is that for the players, or even the coach? I mean, what kind of fun? I mean, that's not really. We have set plays, but we'll start out with about 4, and we'll kind of go from there. What we need to add along the way or take out along the way. But 100 set plays, I don't know how that can't be a lot of fun to me. And then, now that's my opinion, but you can win that. You can win a lot of different ways. That's the cool thing about basketball.
That's a good point.
Coach Weiss at Leveland, that was our back early when we were battling Leveland every year back when I first went to Canyon. They did a great job with zone defense. And I was a man-to-man guy my whole career, but he showed me you can win playing a zone. So it's whatever you get good at. I mean, you
Yeah.
can win different styles. And so for coaches that watch this, you don't have to run this or run the same thing the national champions that UConn men ran this year. You don't have to run that. I mean, I like their stuff, but you can win other ways, and maybe that's not what your team has anyway. So get something that you can teach. Uh, because if I go in there, I don't quite understand what Casio's is explaining. I'm trying to run that. It could be done a lot better than so I need to make sure if I'm going to teach my players, I need to fully understand it, how to teach it. And so
We got to have answers. We got to have answers for their questions, and I don't
yeah,
know,
right.
or making it up, and
Yeah.
that's going to be tough. But no, Coach, I appreciate you sharing. There's a lot of golden nuggets there. I think one danger of having a system and being known for that system is that you start to lose a little bit of what you said is, can my players do this? Like, is this actually what's best for them, and will it lead to winning? And so because I've gone down that path of, hey, we run and gun here. And that's what we're going to do. And then we're pressing and doing all this stuff. And one of my friends comes to the game, a coaching friend. I said, man, what'd you think? Like, we were in the 90s, playing really fast. And he's like, well, it's good, except I don't know if you have the horses to do what you're trying to do. And it hurt my feelings. And we ended up having a year where that we could all feel conflict of, these young men are trying to do what I'm asking, but can they? Like, is it actually possible? Is it best for them?
Yeah.
So I think that's where my ego has to stay out of it and find that sweet spot where, because you kept using the word fun.
Yeah.
It has to be fun for them. You got to be able to coach it. And does it lead to winning?
Yeah, does it lead to winning? Because, and let's talk about 3-point shooting just for a minute. I think everybody loves 3-point shooting. But I can remember losing a game where we went 1 for 21. I can remember watching Duke when they were number one in the nation. They got beat by like Florida Gulf Coast or somebody. Duke was 5 for 38 or something.
Yeah.
So if you put all your eggs into just 3-point shooting, you're going to have an off night where it's not going to go. And so you've got to have something else in your offense that you can draw fouls or whatever, score other ways. And so, and let me say this too. I know what analytics say about the mid-range shot, but the guys that are good at it, that's what I want them taking. Okay. So if I've got DeRozan, he is that guy that's great at the 17-footer, but not the, what is it in the NBA, 21 feet or 23 feet?
It's far. It's far. Yeah.
If he doesn't have that range.
Yeah, you're not going to tell him, hey, analytically, that's dumb. Stop doing that.
But he's getting 2 points per possession. I mean, I think you just need, for us on our level, we need 1 point per possession to win. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're shooting the 2-pointers at 50% or higher, I mean, if that's what you got, that's what you got.
Yep.
But I know the analytics, what they say about the 3, and I don't disagree with them, but I think you have to have a way to get to the free throw line or get paint touches and get some drives or cuts in there to help to go along with set up those. I want those 3-point shots to be wide open 3-point shots.
Coach, you nailed it. You nailed it right there. Like, not all threes are the same.
Yeah.
And just because you're shooting 30 to 40 of them, you can't forget quality. And Baylor struggled with this past year. Great guards, a lot of talent. Charles Barkley, who ended up he's one of my favorite commentators, and I never thought, but he says, it just makes sense, and I like that. But he says them guys at Baylor are shooting contested threes, and it was kind of like that light bulb moment, because they were missing a lot in the first half. And even as a fan watching it, in my head, I'm just thinking percentages. It'll come back around. Well, to his point, not if they're banking on shooting that low percentage of a three off the bounce, contested, deep, high difficulty. That's not the same as a drive, collapse, kick in rhythm or an offensive rebound kick, to your point.
And the guy that drives it to the hole but throws up crap. I mean, I know you're getting kind of a paint touch, but you're wasting it with a terrible shot. One that, so shot selection was always big for me.
Oh, just beautiful. It's number one. In my opinion, it's day one. It's what we all have to be on the same page about. And I also feel like, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. I can't believe I just cut off Coach Lombard. but I got excited. Because it says so much about your culture too. Like, we want our kids shooting freely, but they got to know what they're allowed. It's like our faith, right? Like, people get upset about the rules. The rules are there to give us freedom and to live this life the way we were intended to live. I think shot selection does that. Sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
No, that's awesome. So most of my career, 10 turnovers or less over, and so you got to do things in practice that'll help you with your, the worst teams turn it over. And so if you can keep from turning the ball over and at least get a shot, you got a chance. But if you're going to turn the ball over all the time because you're out of control, and, really where I see a lot of kids get hurt, get injured, is they're doing things they're not really capable of doing. And they're tearing ACLs and things where they're out of control. So you have to train what you want them to do when they get in the lane and not throw up, get something off balance and throw a bad shot or get hurt on a, for a while I was really in the middle of my career, I was really working on that hard jump stop in the lane, which a lot of guys do. But I've seen too many girls tear their ACLs trying to do that. So we had to kind of change that a little bit, make a little adaptation there where maybe it's a short inside step or something. But
more of a 1-2 or a stride stop?
1-2, stride stop, yes, rather than a real hard jump stop. And so you learn, you adapt, you change. Although you stay the same, but really not. You change as you go through and try to make things better. And
thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.